Now, how I start this episode of Warzone Ramblings is probably going to annoy some massive Godzilla fans if they have tuned into this video for either the thumbnail or the title. I'm going to be open and honest with you that my first ever experience of anything Godzilla was Godzilla 1998. And I will admit straight off the bat that that movie is an absolute guilty pleasure of mine. But I do understand and do recognise that it does not honour the franchise at all. I can watch it as its own standalone movie. And to be fair, if the name of it was changed from Godzilla to Iguanosaurus Lost in New York, I'd be just as happy with that as well. Because at the end of the day, I'm a massive dinosaur fan, and that is what that Godzilla probably appeals to the most. And then in 2014 we had the release of yet another American Godzilla, and I did enjoy that movie from the bat. A very different Godzilla, and one that looked more like the traditional Godzilla that I had heard of. I thought the movie was okay, but it could have been a little bit more Godzilla-ish, but overall thought it was a decent movie. And I didn't know, considering how that franchise has gone down, including King Kong, and they've just made it so Americanized where it just logistically doesn't make sense when you see these monsters on screen. If there was going to be another Godzilla movie that would hold my interest, and lo and behold, late last year we had the release of Godzilla -1. Now straight off the bat, if you have not seen this movie, I will be talking about it and doing a little bit of spoilers, but nothing that will give away too much. But to put it out there, if you're one of these apparent fully grown adults that can't watch movies with subtitles, grow up, or this movie is not for you. The movie takes place in Japan just after the events of World War II, and with Japan trying to rebuild itself. I'm not going to try and mention any of the characters' names at all because I will probably butcher the ever-living piss out of them. But I will put this out there and say this straight away, that even though this movie is Godzilla, it is a very character-driven story, and it actually drives the middle parts of the movie where Godzilla isn't there that much on with a lot of heart and actual belief. This movie deals with some pretty tough subject matters and all around the motions of dishonour, shame, survivor's guilt, rebuilding, hope, devastation, resilience, and at the end of it all, redemption. This movie is absolutely fantastic, and I'm glad that they stuck with it all in Japanese because it feels just so authentic, and I'd say it actually helps the pace along. I would argue that between Act 2 and Act 3 it can feel like a little bit of a drag and a little bit samey, but not only is this very character based, but the characters in this are absolutely brilliant as well. Whether it's from love or the playful banter between some friends upon a boat, it is just absolutely brilliant to watch, all the way down to the country and this small group of survivors finding their own strength to stand up against this monster. It is absolutely brilliant to watch. And the character arc that our main character goes through, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, but it is brilliant. And I would also say that the way that he not only finds forgiveness within himself for something that he has done, or maybe didn't do, I should say, to the way he becomes a reluctant father at the end of it and opening up to his feelings of someone close to him, absolutely top notch. And he's willing to make the ultimate sacrifice at the end. But this is a Godzilla movie, so let's talk about it straight away. And the opening attack from Godzilla, the first time you see him, it caught me a little bit off guard. It didn't look like what I was sort of expecting. It actually looks quite closer to another franchise that I'm a big fan of, obviously not the American Godzilla movies. And I thought, okay, is that what they're going for here? I didn't think that's what the Japanese Godzilla looked like. But lo and behold, as the story progresses after this attack, which isn't just brilliant to watch from like a monster movie aspect, but in terms of what it holds to the main character as well and highlights his flaws, it builds up with Godzilla a little bit more here at a time. And you will see certain scenes, like you've probably seen them on the adverts as well. There is one classic shot of Godzilla coming out of the sea behind this boat. That is what is the second main attack, particularly with the main character, and I have to say the way it is shot, it is brilliant, but it also adds this depth to the Godzilla sort of monster that I never knew about. I don't know if this is the same within all the other older Godzilla movies, if he has this sort of trait about him, but he just doesn't stop. He just doesn't stop coming in. It actually strengthens him. And the way it is shot from wide angle to maybe shorter angle and up close, You can feel it, and Godzilla doesn't look just like a monster. He looks like an actual animal that is just maybe just sort of oversized, but he looks like he has a personality behind that, an animalistic personality, which he should have. They've not tried to humanize him at all. And I'm sure that you've all heard about some of the other shots through the movies. There is one attack on land that particularly that everyone knows about. You might have seen some of the shots here and there, and the way they do it to scale and actually give Godzilla some weight is brilliant. The way that he steps down hard and the tarmac or the asphalt, whatever, flies up, sending people everywhere. And my fucking god, when you see, because I'm going to put this out there for perspective for everyone, I said that my opening experience of Godzilla was a 1998 version. I didn't know atomic breath was a whole thing through the franchise. I actually thought it was brought in during the 2014 one. So any Godzilla aficionados out there, I apologise. But this shot of the atomic breath, wow. That's all I'm going to say. Wow. You need to see it. You just have to see it. It looks so much better than any of the shite that America has put out in the last few years. And when it comes to Godzilla's final attack, out in sea, again, you get this huge just scale for what a monster he is. And the climax, the way it builds up, the music, the character development, to Godzilla being this ever anonymous presence that you can just not kill. I cannot really floor it at all. This movie gets a solid 9.3 out of 10 from me. There are a couple of minor flaws that I could pick out. Maybe the final attack, the bit before Godzilla gets baited to go out to sea, could have happened a little bit more. And maybe some of the bits about the language I don't really understand, because it is obviously a Japanese translation. So maybe there is a translation boundary in there. But at the end of the day, a solid 9.3 out of 10 for me. If there are any Godzilla fans in this comment section, please let me know if I should watch any of the older ones at all, because I said my experience of the franchise is very brief and more sort of Western. I've not seen any of the old school Japanese ones. If you have seen Godzilla -1, let me know what you thought of it. If you did like this video, please leave a cheeky like. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'm going to be trying to talk about movies and TV shows, or just general bits of fiction, whether it's in books as well, a little bit more, just to make these Warzone Wamblings a bit more accustomed to my channel, whilst you also get to see some failed footage like you're watching now. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Much love. Take care. Peace.